Hey guys, this is Robert from Night's Lounge introducing Ira and his
Pots and Jars. This has got to be my most favorite deck of all time. This is what I've called my pot deck for several years, but its main focus is on pot and jars, nothing but pop and jars. Now, keep in mind, folks, I'm not talking about marijuana here. Now, the whole pot family here is Cyber Jar, Morphing Jar 2, Dice Jar, Absorbing Jar, Morphing Jar, Fiber Jar, and Dimension Jar. So far, Konami has done its best to try to go through and ban half of this amazing archetype here. It has banned Cyber Jar, Morphing Jar 2, and Morphing Jar, and Fiber Jar, leaving these three other ones here. They have good reasons to ban them. I'm not going to be wrong on that one. Cyber Jar here will destroy all monsters on the field, but then both players get to pick up 5 cards and repopulate their field with any level 4 or lower among them. Morphing Jar 2 here will bounce all monsters on the field back into the deck, and then you get to replace all the monsters you bounce with level 4 and lower as you pick them up from the deck. Dice Jar here will have the potential to do 6,000 damage to whoever is just unlucky that day. Absorbing Jar destroys all set spells and traps on the field, but then rewards the player with extra draws for the number of destroyed spells and traps. Morphing Jar here will destroy all cards in both players' hand and then gives them a whole new hand. Fiber Jar will completely reset the whole game state by shuffling all cards in your hand and graveyard and field back into the deck, but then you get to draw a whole new hand and start right over. And then Dimension Jar here. When this guy is destroyed, both players look into each other's graveyard and banish 3 monsters. Where if you keep full advantage in this whole thing, your opponent is just going to cry on that. Now, the other half of the theme was my pots here is the pots themselves, where I run Pot of Greed, Jar of Avarice, Pot of Duality, and Pot of Avarice. There's a few other jar cards that I had to cut out just because I needed more consistency going on here. You're running close to a 60 card deck, and for the most time that's a bad thing. For this one here, it's actually not bad. Pot of Greed for extra draws. Jar of Avarice is the newest of the jar cards that allows you to shuffle 5 of any card back into your deck and you get to draw a card. Pot of Duality helps you advance by 1 card by looking at the top 3 cards of your deck. And Pot of Avarice, shuffle 5 monsters, and you're going to have a lot of things going to your graveyard. But with these 2 cards here, you're going to get them right back. You're absolutely in no danger here. Along with, to help further draws going on here, 2 Upstarts and a Shard of Greed. Don't be afraid of your opponent having life points, because when you get ready to go for a kill, they're not going to be able to do anything about it. Shard of Greed here is as Pot of Greed did before it shattered into tiny pieces, will allow you to keep drawing. I'm running trips on Good Goblin Housekeeping. Good Goblin Housekeeping here will allow you to draw a card for every Good Goblin Housekeeping in your graveyard. So a maximum, it's going to allow you to draw 3 cards. And after you add those to your hand, you get to pick 1 of them and shuffle them back in. Quite literally, folks, this is a better legal form of graceful charity. Now, with all the draws that you're going to be getting here, you're going to need some sort of control here. Goblin Circus and Card Trader are good ways to control the amount of draws you're going to be doing. Card trader, if you draw into a card you don't like, or you got a dead card set in your hand, shuffle back in the deck, draw a new one during your standby phase. Goblin Circus here. During your end phase, reveal your bottom card. If you don't like it, banish it. Otherwise, put it on top of your deck. That's your next draw. Another engine you're going to have going here is, this is something that's going to be a lot of fun, is Defenders and Chainsaw Insect. Chainsaw Insect is going to be your biggest monster that you can normal summon with 2400. It's pretty sweet for a 4-star. And Defender with 2700 defense. That really makes it difficult for some people to get over. With these here, like, they're going to make your opponent draw. A lot of times this can be a bad thing. In this deck, it's not, because we're running Appropriate. Appropriate allows you to draw 2 cards for every 1 card they draw, for each effect that allows you to draw. Keep that in mind, it's each effect, not each card. And along with this, we're going to have Solemn Wishes out. Gain life points as all this is going on, because you're going to be drawing massive amounts of cards here. Which all these massive amounts of draws here is going to allow you to go into more of your bigger creatures. I'll introduce in a bit. Another state to help you draw. Dark Mimic, level 3 and level 1. I wish they would have added more levels to these guys because they're just sweet. You won't be able to Dark Mimic effect into 3 because Dark Mimic 1's space is just a little small. So these are just walls that your opponent's going to smash into, and you're going to get a draw. Now, with the massive amount of cards you're running in your hand, I do highly recommend that you have 2 infinite cards in there. This way, like, you can hold as many cards as you want. Your opponent will too, but this will definitely help you out. And for those of you who have seen infinite cards, you're pretty much guessing what one of your big monsters is going to be. But before I get to that, also with so many cards in your hand, Final Destiny. Drop 5 cards out of your hand and nuke the entire field. And then get ready to finish your opponent. Now, one of the other jar monsters that people don't even realize is a jar, Cobra Jar. This guy's been out since the early days of Yu-Gi-Oh! When he is destroyed, he special summons a poison snake token in its place, and if your opponent attacks the poison token, they're going to take 500 points of damage. Also, not to mention, the token's bigger than the monster. It's a 12/12. Now, for advantage, there are 2 big advantages to drawing a lot. One big advantage, I'm pretty sure most of y'all have been calling it out since I started the video, but the 5 pieces of Exodia. You're going to be drawing a lot. These things will potentially be dead draws until you get the whole thing, but it does put a time limit on the game, because with cards like Fiber Jar in this deck and Jar of Avarice, this game could potentially last as long as you want. I've seen this deck actually go into a 5-hour game before, which is pretty impressive. Also, one of your foot soldiers for having that many cards in your hand is Muka Muka. I can hear all y'all laughing right now, but Muka Muka gains 300 attack and defense for every card in your hand. A lot of times, I'm going to have upwards of like 12 cards in my hand. 12 times 3, do the math, and add 600 to it. Now, these are, like I said, these are just foot soldiers compared to your big nightmares you're going to be dropping on the board. And these are your nightmares. Slide for the Sky Dragon. 1,000 attack for every card in your hand. If your opponent has anything with less than 2,000 attack or defense, it's going to die. Enraged Muka Muka is going to gain 400 attack for every card in your hand. And it starts off at 1,200. He's a beast. Tragodia. Trag here is going to surprise the hell of your opponent because they think they have gotten rid of your jars and stuff. Go in for a direct attack, drop a track, 600 attack for every card in your hand. Boys, I am talking about power here. And that's my jar deck.